Hi, guys. I want to talk more about one of the things that I find most fascinating about creating artwork, and it's the completely non-tangible side of it, the inspiration, the part that comes from you and is so hard to define and grasp and can be really frustrating to harness and keep close, I guess. I I talk about this kind of stuff a lot because I just find it so incredibly fascinating the way that that can feed into a very real expression of creativity into an actual piece of artwork. So I wanted to talk a bit about a very specific experience I had. It was really interesting. It's the first time that I've ever had this kind of reaction experience as far as the inspiration for my artwork. And I've been making art for as long as I can remember. I'm sure many of us have been making art for a long time. This is not to exclude anyone who has joined art newly. I wanted to talk a bit about this really interesting experience that I had a couple of days ago. So I talk about inspiration a lot, and I guess that's like the most compact word way that I can explain this. I think it bundles together interest in art, motivation to create art, the spark of excitement to make it and to think about it. That kind of all that stuff I feel like is encompassed in this. But I talk about it a lot because it's something that grows and wanes all the time for me, and it can be really frustrating. It wasn't until recently that I learned to accept that when I have a low level of inspiration and I want to paint, but it's not really there, learning that it always comes back in some form has taken a lot of stress off of the process for me. But anyways, this is a bit of a side note. It's going to be a little bit all over the place today, but I am going to talk about, again, that experience that I had a couple of days ago. So I've been having really vivid dreams lately, and the other night I had a dream about a very specific story. So it wasn't that involved, but it was about the concept of, and I know there's probably a word for this, but when you get lost in a cave and you lose your light, it actually completely messes up your ability to sense direction and even to feel where gravity is pulling, so down to earth as opposed to upward. It's an incredibly interesting and honestly horrifying phenomenon, and it's happened to many people who've gotten lost in caves, and I've always found that absolutely fascinating. But I dreamt this dream that was basically based around that. It was kind of the thing. And in my dream, at the end of it, I was dreaming that this was going to be part of a 3-story light horror graphic novel that I was going to create, and I was going to put them together, and it all just made sense in my dream. My sleeping brain was thinking through all these things as I was sleeping, and then I woke up and I just felt so invigorated, so excited to go put this idea down, to finish working on the painting that I had started and was not feeling. And I just woke up and it was instantly I felt like this well of inspiration had been refilled, and I had just been feeling the day before that I just had nothing left. I was not connecting with the piece. I was just kind of pushing through it. And the piece in question is this one that I'm working on today. And it was so exciting. This is really the first time that I've ever had a switch like that was so profound in such a short amount of time. It was just really fascinating. And it just got me thinking about how not easy, but how if I'm always putting myself in the position to be creating artwork and to be thinking about it and consuming it thoughtfully, that it keeps my mind open to that kind of stuff, to art inspiration, to the desire and the motivation to do it, so that ideally, even when I'm not feeling it, if I'm still cultivating it, I can feel like it's still in my mind. So my mind is still working through that problem and I'm still trying to reconnect with that. And it's comforting to feel that this is kind of a give and a take, a flow of ups and downs. And I don't know, I find that really thrilling. So yeah, that was just a really cool experience that did spark a lot of like thoughts about future projects. And honestly, that's one of the things that I personally find to be the most inspiring for me as far as creating art is when it's for like a larger purpose, a larger project. I find that kind of stuff just like really just gets me going. I'm really excited about working on it and looking for connections on how I can link the different pieces together. So I'm not surprised that like the big thing that had that burst of inspiration was attached to the concept of a larger project like that. And I have been really wanting to do a graphic novel for a long time. I was seriously planning and considering it for this year, and for a few reasons it's not going to happen this year, but yeah, it was just it got me thinking about doing it in a way that could allow me to do it next year, that could allow me to work on it in pieces this year if I did do smaller stories. Yeah, it feels really exciting, and I love this feeling of being able to feel that excitement again to make artwork. Oh, and this painting is titled Spring Heartbreak. And if you'd like the original painting, she is available at my shop. So there's a link in the description below. And she's also the print for April Patreon. So if you'd like to get a print of her, make sure to sign up for the print tier. There's a link in the description. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this one turned out. But anyways, let's get back to the topic. I really wish that I had some ideas on how to replicate this phenomenon in the future. I just found it so magical and exciting. It's not the first time that I've had ideas for artwork in my dreams. Then I've woken up and that image that I dreamt is still in my mind, and it was really interesting and exciting and engaging, and I could sketch that out. I actually have one that I dreamt semi-recently an idea, I should say, kind of a concept that I put some sketches down for, and I haven't really done anything with it, so maybe I'll have to reward that part of my brain by actually finishing that painting. But I don't know. I think that's something that maybe I need to like think about, ponder what I can do to cultivate a creative state while I'm sleeping. I wonder if that really is a thing, to engage my mind in a way so that as I am sleeping, I can be open to that kind of thinking. Because I know that our brains are processing many things, memories that we had from the day and our emotions, and cataloging those. So being able to potentially be open in that way, I don't know if there's like something that I can actually do to direct that or not, but it's an interesting thought nonetheless. But let's talk really quickly, just some practicalities about this painting, about some of the things that I did to execute it and some of my thoughts on it. So it actually ended up, the color palette, quite a bit, well, not quite a bit, different than I originally planned. I thought that the background was going to be more opaque. I was originally planning on just going in with my acrylic gouache so that it would be solid, opaque color, and it was going to be a lot more teal. But then I felt like I wanted it to be more granulating for the background. The overall colors of this piece ended up having a lot more colors in it and a lot more variation and a lot more saturated. And it's been a while since I've done a piece this bright, for a while. What am I trying to say? It's been a while. It's been a while since I've done that. I used to paint like this often, where I would use very saturated colors and lots of colors, and I've moved away from that a bit. So it's interesting to see it now, where it kind of evolved that way as I was working on it. I like it for this piece. I'm not sure how I feel about how I want to move forward with my color palettes for my overall body of work, but I think I liked it in this one. It definitely felt like spring to me, which was fun. to do something a little bit more on trend with how things are feeling outside. And my emotions around spring is, well, not heartbreak, but I am feeling very happy that it's spring. So yeah, anyways, I like to open up the color palette to be manipulated a bit as I'm working with the watercolors after I've had a plan. I have like a launching point, so I know where basically the values are going to be in the basic colors, and then I can just play with the paints that I do have and texturing and gradients and just have fun with it. But I have enough of a plan of where the colors are going to be that I'm not going in blind. That usually ends badly for me. But yeah, one thing that I do wish I had done is I wish that I had more of a dark color to have on the bottom of the background. I like that direction of the way that it makes the eye flow. So it brings the eye more into the focus of where I want it to be, which would be where there is the face. So if it was darker at the bottom of the background and then lighter at the top, it would create kind of this vignetting effect that would just bring everything together to that focal point. So yeah, I wish I had done that. I think it would have added a little bit more depth to it, but all in all, that's just something to remember for the future. With like these really textural, great granulating paints, they can be really tricky to glaze on top of. I find that it tends to just really muddy the texture that I created originally. So like this one was Cascade Green. Yeah, that's what it was. Cascade Green from Daniel Smith. So it's a fairly opaque paint, very granulating. I really can't do a glaze on top of it if I want to preserve that texture below it. And I did. So I chose not to add like another layer to darken the bottom. I chose to instead keep it as it was and take note for the future. That's it for today. So again, this painting is available at my shop. There's that link down in the description if you'd like to adopt her. And she is the exclusive print for Patreon for April. So if you'd like to get a print of her, make sure to sign up for the print tier. There's a link down in the description that'll take you over there. And yeah, make sure to sign up by the last day of April. I do want to give a massive thank you to all of my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for your support. And that's it for today. So thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you guys next time with some more art and some more chatting, and I'll see you then.